Let your light shine. Welcome to Pathways of Hope. I'm Tom Farmer in Singapore. Today's gospel is from Mark chapter 4. Jesus said to his disciples, "Is a lamp brought in to be placed under a bushel basket or under a bed, and not to be placed on a lampstand? For there is nothing hidden except to be made visible, nothing in secret except to come to light. Anyone who has ears to hear ought to hear." He also told them, "Take care what you hear. The measure with which you measure will be measured out to you, and still more will be given to you. To the one who has, more will be given. From the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away." So I ask you a question. Do you have what you need? Do you have enough? You know, some people stress themselves from sunrise to sunset, and even through the weekend, to have more, as if they never have enough. Others work hard, but stop working to make time for family, friends, serving others, and rest, with the attitude that what they have is enough, and they trust God for what they don't have. So again, I ask, do you have enough? Lord, speak to us. The way you answer this question, do you have enough, will be self-fulfilling according to today's gospel. To the one who has, more will be given. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Seems a little strange, doesn't it? Okay, it seems a little different from John the Baptist saying, "Let him who has two give to him who has none." Here we see those who have, more will be given to them. But from those who have not, even what they have will be taken away. That's not equal distribution of goods, okay? The passage here, I believe, is talking about our attitude of generosity, not an attitude of maybe selfishness or overcaution about sharing what we have. It's about generosity. The Lord wants us to be generous in sharing and serving and giving. So this is a very important word for us today. Now remember, I'm reminded of the golden rule, where in Matthew 7, Jesus says, "So whatever you wish that men would do to you, do so to them, for this is the law and the prophets." So there's a connection, kind of like a mirror, between how we treat others and what comes back to us. If we have, to us more will be given. But if we have not, even what we have will be taken away. There's a kind of a symmetry to this. Now, I live in Singapore. People from all over the world live in Singapore. I have friends, you know, from every religion and belief system. The Hindus, what I'm describing, the Hindus would call this karma, okay? Karma is like what goes around comes around. If you're bad to people, it's going to come back to you. If you're good to people, it's going to come back to you, okay? Those who have, to them more will be given. To those who have not, maybe they don't share, they don't feel they have anything to give, then even what you have will be taken away. It sounds a little bit like karma. But I just want to say this karma is not Christian because it fails to explain unmerited mercy. Remember, the Christian principle here is that God gives us far more than we deserve. We call that grace. And he also gives us far less than we deserve, which is what we call mercy. Okay? Yet there still is a kind of justice underlying God's mercy and grace. Remember, the Old Testament and Moses brought the law, but Jesus brought grace and truth. Okay? So this principle of those who have, to them more will be given. To those who have not, even what they have will be taken away, is a little bit, you know, like it's justice. It relates to justice. If we're generous, generosity will come back. If we're stingy, we'll get stingy coming right back at us. It sounds very much like karma, but remember, karma does not take into account grace or mercy. Karma is strictly an equation, practically. Okay, so just don't fall into the karma trap. Otherwise, we have no room for grace and mercy. But grace and mercy exist on top of justice. And this is a principle of justice in today's gospel. What it says is that what we measure out to others matters. It matters to the one you are giving to, but it has a ramification on ourselves. Examples: your colleague at work asks you for help with something. You can give them a minute of help, or you can give them 10 minutes or even an hour of help. What will it be? It really matters. It's going to affect what comes back to you. Okay, that's what it's saying in this gospel. Another example: let's say there's a clothing drive to help hurricane victims. You can say, well, I have nothing to give. Everything I have, I need. Or you can make a sacrifice and give something that you currently need because somebody else really needs it also, maybe worse than you do, meaning you're taking on the exact need of a hurricane victim as you fill their need. Okay, and this is not, giving is not just giving what we have in excess. Giving is meaningful when it's a real sacrifice. Well, we have a choice. Okay, God sees the measure you give is the measure you get. Another example: you belong to a church or community. You can attend regularly, or you can attend when it suits you or when you feel like going. Okay, the measure you give is the measure you get. Do you want people to be committed to you if you're not committed to them? God sees the measure you give of your time and faithfulness is the measure you will get when you need time and faithfulness from others. The principle should be clear to you. And remember, once again, this is not the same as karma, because karma does not account for mercy and grace. Now, also note here that this principle of the measure you give is the measure you get can sound a bit legalistic, like an eye for an eye. Is this really New Testament? Yes, it is the New Testament. But I believe the passage is not mainly about judgment and punishment, but rather it's an appeal for us to be generous. Why do I believe this is an appeal for us to be generous, to give without measure, or to give generously? I believe the passage is a call to generosity because it starts with the call to not put our light under a bushel basket or under a bed. Okay, we must let our light shine. Okay, the passage also urges us to live in the light, but I believe the key message is to let your light shine. Many Christians hide their lamp under a bushel in the name of humility. We are not only believers, my friends, we are a kingdom of priests. It wasn't long ago when Jesus, the gospel was not long ago when the gospel was about Jesus sending out his disciples to preach the word and to heal. Now, if all the disciples had chosen to show off their humility, saying, oh, I'm only a sinner, I'm not worthy to put myself out as some kind of preacher or miracle worker, and they all stayed home out of some kind of false humility, then probably you and I would not have ever heard the gospel. Okay? If you and I put our bushel under a lamp in the name of false humility, people in need of food will go unfed. People in need of truth will remain in darkness, and people in need of salvation or healing will remain broken and lost. Brothers and sisters, we cannot put our lamp under a bushel. Okay? Especially under the idea of false humility. We must have true humility, which is obedience. I once heard that the purest form of humility is obedience, and I believe that is true. And sometimes obedience means doing things that might require you to give, to make a sacrifice. It may require you to measure out time you don't have, prayer you don't feel like doing, or to measure out love that you don't yourself feel you are getting. Okay? And that's part of letting your light shine. Whether you feel like it or not, we need to be out there giving, loving, serving. So once again, this gospel passage, Jesus said, is a lamp brought in to be placed under a bushel basket or under a bed and not placed on a lampstand? And then later, the measure with which you measure will be measured out to you, and still more be given to you. To one who has, more will be given. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. It has been said that evil triumphs when good men do nothing. So many evils in the world today could have been prevented if good men stood up. But I think often people put their light under a bushel. They don't speak up. Good people fail to act, fail to speak, and evil triumphs. Let's not let our light be covered under a bushel. Let's let our light shine. Let us serve, give, and love generously. And let us heed the Lord's call to action today. God bless.